Well, we are coming slowly to the end of the broadcast here from Nasrec at the National Conference of the ANC, and this is the 54th one where we saw the top six of the ANC announced last night. But I suppose what needs to be seen now is if there are any contestations around these appointments. And, you know, you hear these rumors and mumblings around that some are going to appeal the decisions, and whether or not it's true, we don't know. But some of these results were so close that one can only question if, in fact, they will be accepted. And I think the top one that we're talking about, of course, is that one that was separated by a mere 24 votes, Senzo Mkhunu and Ace Magashule. And let's continue to get a little bit of analysis on that one. Lebohang, I mean, we look at a position like that. Firstly, I don't think in the history of voting at the ANC there's ever been such a close margin. I mean, in your recollection, do you?
No, none that I can think of. I mean, we'd have to go and trawl through our archives, but none that I can think of. But I'm also not sure whether there's also ever been a successful appeal. But again, speaking under correction, the thing with this one in particular is that there's so much at stake. I mean, we always say that every conference is the mother of all conferences, but in many respects, this has been really the mother of many conferences.
Indeed, yeah.
This is really it. I mean, we said the same about Polokwane. So each one represents a specific political trajectory and a particular moment, and this moment is really one where the ANC is needing to define for itself where it will be in 2019, and this is really a barometer for its future post 2019, and then of course beyond that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the other opinion when we look at the Let's take a look at this position of the Secretary General that was taken by Ace Magashule. Many people worried about Ace Magashule in this position. Is it justified to worry about him in this, which one can describe as a very powerful position now, being the Secretary General? So
it's a powerful position. I mean, the Secretary General is the prefect in chief, you know, the principal in chief, and needs to corral things around party discipline, order, party policy, bring things, house all of these processes together in a very orderly, impartial manner, bring factions together. That's very important. So it's very pivotal. Gwede Mantashe has been a very influential, and he's carried the position in a particular way. Before that, Kgalema Motlanthe carried that position in a particular way with a particular, I suppose, gravitas and dignity. Ace Magashule is very much a provincial figure who seems to have had aspirations to ascend to the national stage and has finally done so. He's been a provincial power player in Free State for forever, it feels like. I mean, he's been the chair there since, if I'm not mistaken, for about 24 or 25 years. Even before the 1994 elections. I don't know how old he was then, because he's not an old man now. That he's been running things in that province for a very long time. And of course, he's had opportunities before, by the way, to ascend to power. He's had opportunities for DG-ships. He had a previous opportunity at the premiership in Free State. There's been the impression that he himself has curtailed his own political career at different moments. But now, finally, one would have thought that he had consolidated both his provincial power base at party level and as the premier as well. But seemingly he has had higher aspirations than that. Secretary General is huge. He's also on his watch managed to alienate a number of people within the Free State. There've been allegations of mismanagement, fictitious branches, that kind of thing, and a kind of a strong man approach to conflict resolution, which I think when you're looking for somebody who is a consensus builder, a party builder, you may want somebody with a slightly more nuanced, delicate approach to these sorts of things. His son, I think it's Thabiso Magashule, was allegedly sighted inside the Saxonwold vicinity. You know, we can read into that what we may or may not want to read into that. So there's a whole slew of question marks that seem to surround him.
Yeah, there certainly is. And I mean, when you hear the stories of the relationships with the Gupta family, or the alleged relationships, and upgrades to his house, fancy new cars, security personnel, you know, there's just so much surrounding Ace Magashule. One just wonders, what was the rationale behind moving up into this position? And for the voting, I know that we were speaking a bit earlier that perhaps it was this whole idea of unity that was being sold, and he was the face of unity along with Didi Mabuza. But is this perhaps the wrong move from the ANC?
Well, I think the question I'd pose back to you and to us, Leanne, is unifying what? Unifying which interests? Unifying which factions? You know, what's actually being unifying or consolidating the kind of very violent power play that we've been seeing? Unifying and consolidating a particular kind of leadership consort, which doesn't necessarily act in the interests of branch members, of regional members, of party interests, but rather in narrow self-interest. What is actually being reunified and consolidated? Perhaps we need to deconstruct that a bit more carefully, because I think I wonder how people at branch level and members of the party at large on ground would respond to this, and whether they feel that this has brought them closer together and brought their interests closer to being addressed as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a big story, and these little rumblings and rumours of appeals by Senzo Mkhunu's side, whether or not this comes true or not. But just quickly, we're going to take a break now. But to wrap up this conversation, if an appeal comes through, I mean, again, has it ever been successful?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I'm not sure. We need to go, trawl through our archives again. I'm not aware of that. Doesn't mean that that's not the case. What I do know is that in most of these processes, appeals need momentum. If they're going to do this, it has to be very quick. There has to be visibility around it, and there needs to be traction for it to really take root. You also have to build the ground in a way that the popular sentiment is with you, because a lot of these processes, political processes, aren't necessarily about the efficacy of the technical efficacy of the event, but rather the popular sentiments that you can corral around the cause.
Yeah. All right, let us now take a break here on the program. We'll continue with some analysis after this. Stay tuned.